It's time for the Fantasy Football Guys, filling your ear holes with gooey, sticky football knowledge since 2005. Here they are, Lyle Conkeal and Kevin Moore, the Fantasy Football Guys.
Yeah, man, I can't quite do it today. Can't quite get that.
Kevin's a little ill.
Can't get that power that I usually have, man. A little under the weather today. Actually, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
You having a hard time?
A little hard time projecting into the mic.
Well, you better pick it up, pal. We got another hour and a half to do. So,
Well, let me get rid of this.
yeah. Is that a little better?
I mean, yeah.
You talk a little low.
Now I can let the mic do the work.
Put your Barry Manilow on.
You mean my Barry White?
Manilow, white.
Well, Barry Manilow.
I would consider you more of a Manilow.
I don't know. Barry Manilow,
Yeah, I said
stick
it-
figure. Barry White.
I said that on purpose, pal.
Oh, it was a joke. So anyway, we're the Fantasy Football
it
Guys,
was.
Kevin.
Lyle.
And we are streaming live on our own, of course, channel on YouTube. I would be the Fantasy Football Guys. You can find us there.
Good Lord, speak up, dude.
Dude, this is it. This is what I got.
That's what you got today? I have to bump your knob.
Dude, excuse me?
I'm gonna have to bump your knob.
Well, at least I'm not sniffling and snorting into the damn mic.
That's
like
what
you
I
usually
do,
are.
pal.
So you can also check us out on the iTunes podcast app and Stitcher. We're also at SoundCloud and various and sundry other spots around the internet, including our own website. That would be thefantasyfootballguys.com. And you can find us on Twitter at TFFG and Facebook at the Fantasy Football Guys. That's where we are. So
Right.
The season is over for the most
No, it's
part.
not, Kevin.
The regular season is over.
There you go.
Year-long fantasy is over,
It's
but
over.
we are, of course, running our NFL.com playoff games. We have a cash league and we have a free league. Now, what's happening is people are trickling in, and it's all going to be Saturday at about 11:30. People are going to be like, "I want in."
I want to. Hey, if you do want in, we have forum posts, we have Twitter, we have email, we have a million ways to contact us.
Well, I put the directions on the forum.
Cool. So just let us know. I mean, the free league is totally free. All you have to do is
Hence
request
the
it,
name.
and you can go ahead and jump into that. And then the money league is going to go ahead and cost money.
Yeah, it's
$10.
I put
$12 to cover
$12 on it.
the PayPal.
Right. So, but
Vig.
if it turns out that we're not going to keep the extra $2 or whatever it is, but
No. Whatever's extra,
whatever
Comes
comes in,
back
we
out,
send
yeah.
out. It's going to be winner take
just
all.
to cover the stupid PayPal fees.
Yeah. So we can talk about the strategies for that as well,
Stupid
but only
PayPal.
if you ask us. Yeah. Stupid PayPal. Been paying Lyle's mortgage for the past 5 years.
I work
something
for
like
PayPal, for those of you who don't know.
that. Anyway, so Liz Losa from Yahoo Fantasy Sports coming up later on to go through our picks.
Yeah, that should be exciting.
Yeah, it begins.
Yeah,
I'm,
it's a new beginning.
I'm
It begins
defending
again.
my crown.
You are, and you will lose that crown this season.
Thank God for the prop bets, man.
Yeah, I know. Friggin', somebody's tie color, and Kevin ends up taking it to the house.
So did you send me a doc there, bro?
I did. I sent it to all of our emails, Fantasy Football Guys, and
Hey,
then
there it is.
I sent it to your personal email as well. So
Perfect.
we have documents. If
So-
you want to run through these games real quick, there's only 4 of them.
Actually, let's do some news first.
Let's do that. Yeah.
This is weird. This has kind of jumped out of nowhere. Calvin Johnson from the Lions, Megatron, considering retirement.
Yeah.
Apparently, 9 seasons have taken their toll on the dude. His fingers are gnarled. From what I understand, his toes are gnarled as well. Ankle injury forced him to miss a bunch of practice time this year. So he's considering calling it quits.
Yeah.
I guess the dude's, 30, 31?
He really just it's funny to think that he's that old. He's 30. Yeah, but he just turned 30 in September.
You know what really sucks, dude?
Yeah.
I remember, I was an adult and playing fantasy football, and John Elway and Dan Marino and Jim Kelly and all these guys are drafted. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I was a kid.
And now they're old guys, long retired.
Yeah, I was a child.
Yeah.
So,
Some might say you're still a child.
well, I kind of am. But I think that class is the Peyton Manning class for me. Right? So I graduated high school in 95. He was drafted in 98, 99.
98.
Yeah, so I was adult.
And the next year was when McNabb and
those, that was
Culpepper and
99,
those guys
right?
came out.
Yeah. So the Manning, Brady, this has been my adulthood fantasy football kind of thing.
Right.
You know,
If those guys didn't come out at the same time, but
but
it was all the 2000s
right,
that they were
that they were dominant.
Right.
Kind of the big names in fantasy sports. So it'll be weird for me too, I guess, when that happens, when, he's definitely going to coach, right? He's not going to go into a booth, you think?
I don't really see him going into a booth.
He's probably going to be the best offensive coordinator in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, I have to imagine that he's going to go, and I don't know that he'll go directly to an offensive coordinator spot. I'm guessing he'll probably go to a quarterback's coach spot or something like that.
Yeah, right away, yeah.
Or he'll do front office.
That's another thing. I mean, that's, and Elway's done a great job in Denver.
Or, dude, maybe he'll farve it and just go to the farm. Who knows? Guy's got plenty of
Favre
jack.
does a lot of commercials. I don't know how much time he's spending on the farm.
I think he's spending a lot of time
I see more commercials of him on a farm than I think he's actually on his farm.
Right.
And he's always like, doing Wrangler jeans or some like sports injury, make you feel better thing. I lead an active lifestyle. I'm like, no, you don't. Not anymore.
Not as much as you used to, Brett.
You used to.
Yeah. Sean Payton apparently staying with the Saints. He says he cannot envision himself ever coaching for another club. Well, you post another losing season again.
Yeah.
We're going to test that theory.
Yeah, well, I think what he needs to do, and it's sad, but he needs to get himself a young quarterback that Drew Brees can mentor for a season or two, and then they move on from Brees, I think is probably the move. Thing is, Brees is getting older. He doesn't have a whole lot of gas left in the tank. I think he could probably play another 3 years really successfully in the NFL. After that, who knows? I mean, it's up to his body and conditioning and luck.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with, what happens injury-wise.
That was the luck part I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, because, you look at Tom Brady, really hasn't had a significant injury since the knee. Right. Now, you get banged up and stuff, but he hasn't had a real serious injury for years.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, on the other hand,
did.
He has. And, he had one this year that kept him out, et cetera. So, how good would he have been if he hadn't had those issues? How long could he play?
I wonder if he'd still be in Indy had he not had
I think so.
The neck.
Yeah, so who?
Because they thought he was done.
Right.
So then where does luck go?
Skins?
Maybe. And dude, all right, thank God for...
Or, I don't know, Cleveland.
Maybe in Cleveland. Oh, what a bummer. Every Browns fan in the world just died a little bit.
Yeah. Luck could have been in Cleveland.
It was like when Alderaan got blown up and what's his face was like, oh, I feel it.
Yoda.
Yeah, it was Yoda. Yeah, right. Was that?
It was Yoda.
Yeah, but Alderaan got blown up in the first one, right? What?
That's true.
So that was what happened when Yoda was like, oh.
Oh, that was when God, we're geeking out here.
Yeah.
That was when Anakin found his mother was dead, when his mother died.
Oh, that's what it was.
Young
yeah, it was a prequel.
Skywalker's in great pain.
Yeah. He was like,
yeah. Sorry about that.
So something like that. Every Browns fan just was like, oh.
Well, the thing about it is though, is you have to wonder: is it the player or is it the team? Because Tim Couch was highly considered.
Yeah.
He could, if you put Tim Couch on another team with a different scheme and a better line, is Tim Couch a guy you talk about as...
No.
Well, you don't know this.
I do know it.
You do not.
I do know it because I think that talent shines in the NFL. And pretty much no matter what you do, even if your first gig bombs, right, you end up with a second chance somewhere else and a third chance somewhere else if you're talented enough. Look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. He's not a great quarterback. But he's good enough to be the best backup available in the league. And when he gets in the lineup, which he does all the time,
right,
he ends up being successful at times.
Right, but happenstance put him in the lineup. If Gino had paid the dude his money.
But it didn't put him on the team. And that's my point.
Right. Well,
I think
point
Tim Couch
is,
would have ended up somewhere else as a backup or a third or a practice squad or something.
And he did.
Yeah,
but he
not for long.
He ended up with the Redskins, who were also awful.
Yes,
and he sucked there as well because of scheme and because of line.
No, I think he just wasn't an NFL caliber quarterback. I just don't think he was. So I mean, and a lot of kids get there. And back in the day, you got that rookie contract, which was huge, and they're multimillionaires now. They don't need to really compete anymore.
All right, so not Couch, but guys who are drafted late or even early, but in a bad situation. David Carr with the Texans. Mm-hmm. I think
got another shot in New York, right?
Right, and but it was the shot he got was if a team is picking up a quarterback from free agency, chances are they suck. The team that finished first isn't trying to get a quarterback from the waiver wire.
Understood.
Right.
I do think that it plays a role. I think much more significantly, though, it's just talent, man. I mean, we see people that are in terrible circumstances, that are young, that are drafted in the 4th, 5th round, 6th round, come out and be stellar, right? And we see people that are drafted super early end up being in a decent scheme, and they're terrible, So I think the talent shines in the NFL. It much more than any other sport. Now listen, I mean, talent shines in all sports. Don't get me wrong, but the NFL is so punishing if you make a mistake. They call it a game of inches, and they're not kidding. It really is. And I mean, if you're just slightly off, that's it. You threw a pick, or you give up a sack, or that guy burnt you. I just think that in the NFL, you better bring your A game, or you're going home.
Thank you, Lyle. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well
said by me.
The point I was trying to make there, and you will have to agree that or maybe not if you're a douche, but you put a different quarterback or a different player in a new situation. You take DeMarco Murray, who was awesome last year in Dallas. Mm-hmm. You put him in Philadelphia. He's the same running back.
Oh yeah,
but the scheme didn't work for him.
I thought it was super amazing and ironic that his first touch post Chip Kelly
from the quarterback under center.
Yeah,
right.
55-yard touchdown.
It was perfect. They opened the hole and off he went.
Now he became DeMarco Murray again.
Well, because
for the rest of that game,
they only ran the ball from that
the
setup,
eye, right, or whatever,
one more time,
right? Yeah,
and I think he gained a couple, but the rest of the time he was like, "Oh, let's run him down the line again, and hopefully he makes a cut."
Ridiculous,
right? But Sam Bradford is now saying that he really wants to play for Shermer. So, if the Eagles want Bradford back, maybe Shermer's the coach. But, I think he could probably be talked into staying if Gaze is the coach as well.
I think so, too.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wait a minute, he made Jay Cutler good? Imagine what he'll do for me.
Right. Yeah, because Cutler has been known to screw the old Poocheroonie.
Give the ball away a bit, but he didn't so much this year.
He didn't. He played much, much better. Anyway, we digress.
We went off on a tangent there.
Whatever.
Did you hear on the radio that Roethlisberger basically issued a challenge to Martavis Bryant to show up?
Yeah.
And
he was like, "Look, you gotta. That's what I'm saying. Bring your A game, dude. Not your B, not your C."
Well, when I heard about this, the announcer who was saying if there's one player on the team that can call him out and get away with it, it's Ben.
It's Ben.
None of the other receivers can, because that would be weird. But your quarterback can call you out. A guy who's already got his gold jacket fitted can basically call out whoever he wants. He could probably call the coach out. He could get away with it.
Probably could get away with it.
Right. Now the coach may pull him in and go, "Come on, Ben, what the hell are you doing?" But I guarantee
he does have a gold jacket made.
Let's see. Marvin Lewis 0-6 in the playoffs.
It's so sad.
He might be 0-7.
I think he's going 0-7.
Well, here's the thing. They're playing at home, but Pittsburgh's coming to town, and Pittsburgh's favored.
Well, last time they played Pittsburgh in the playoffs, Carson Palmer was their quarterback. He got hurt in the first quarter, Kevin? ACL?
I think it was the first drive. Dude.
It might have been.
It was
like right away. And Pittsburgh won.
And John Kitna came in.
Yeah, and then that was that.
Yeah, that was over.
And that was pretty much Carson Palmer's best season as a Bengal. And then after that, he struggled and then ended up leaving the team. So,
right.
You got to wonder. And from what I'm reading, Dalton's not looking. I mean, he's officially questionable, but it's not looking good. So
and they're starting to say we can win with McCarron.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat Pittsburgh with McCarron.
So we brought up Adam Gase before. Eagles impressed by Gase, of course. We all knew that, and we'll hold a second interview with him over the weekend.
I think he's going to end up being the coach.
I'm all right with that.
Me too.
Because Drew Seabass and Brian Lyle and I were having a text conversation about Gaze and about how he will change his coaching style and his offense to suit the quarterback that he's playing with. Like when he was with Tebow in Denver, he borrowed some plays and some comfort situations from Urban Meyer, who Tebow played for at Florida, and then when he had Peyton Manning, he borrowed some of the playbook from when Manning was with the Colts. And he did the same thing for Cutler. He grabbed some of Mike Martz's plays, so that the quarterback can be comfortable in the system that he's running.
Right.
That to me it should be 101 type stuff.
We talked about this a few weeks ago when we were talking about Walsh and how the West Coast offense
Paul
came
Brown
about.
and
right, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant coaching, right? You got to make the best with what you have. There is scheme, and it's important, right, to have your philosophy, your offensive philosophy, your defensive philosophy. But if you don't adjust it to the people that you have, you're clearly missing out on optimization of those players.
Well, the best analogy I saw was, for the past 3 years, the Eagles have had a coach that was trying to put the horse on the shoe instead of put the shoe on the horse. That's a good one. Yeah. Gaze is allegedly coming back this week, and if they let him out of Cleveland or wherever else he goes, we'll see.
Please, 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 we have to do at least one more news item. We have to talk about Manziel.
I was just going to say, apparently, Manziel decided, okay, you know what? I'm not going to play for the Browns anymore, so I'm going to blow off my Sunday 9:00 meeting with the doctor to go over my concussion protocol, and I'm just not going to go to the game.
Right, he didn't do that. And then, did you read what he did in Vegas?
He went to Vegas and was Billy. He was wearing a disguise.
Dude wore a blonde wig, a fake mustache, glasses, and a hoodie, and introduced himself as Billy. Billy
Mexico?
Wow. I know, here we go.
Dude, I got to see a picture. Is there a picture?
There's T-shirts, apparently.
Oh, dude.
But I don't think there's any pictures of him, fully dressed up. I haven't seen anything anyway.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to believe until I see it.
Yeah, so he's definitely gone. He's going to end up in Dallas.
Well, I don't know. RG3 wants to go to Dallas.
We'll see. But I think that they might hire them both.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
So, let's see. 3 teams have applied for relocation to L.A. That would be the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Rams. Apparently, 2 teams are going to get picked. So I'm not real sure who the third team is going to be, odd team out, as it were. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting. And they're allegedly going next year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 2016, right?
That's what I've seen.
Yeah,
so I guess they have decisions to make there. So, all right. So,
all right.
In the offseason, Dean Blandino says the veteran wide receivers are going to be helping to clarify what is a catch and what isn't.
What a catch is.
You
know what? It is ridiculous. Just tell us and be consistent. That's all we want.
Well, I think as they decide what a catch is, they're going to have to figure out a way for the people in New York to be able to clarify what is a catch and what isn't. Because you can look at a game on Red Zone Channel. You can look at one game and a guy will catch the ball, turn and take 2 steps, get tackled, the ball squirts out, incomplete pass. They go to another game where a guy catches the ball, turns, takes 2 steps, gets hit, the ball comes out, fumble. So it's not consistent.
It's gotten to the point where they have to employ former referees as people that they would go to, right, from the analyst booth to talk through the freaking replay, because we can't even tell from the replay now whether or not they're going to call it one way or the other. We all know what we think.
Right. And you know what my favorite is when you got Mike Perillo or whatever the hell his name is there. They have, each network has their own former ref.
Parallelogram, Kevin.
My bad. So when they go to hit that guy and the analyst, former referee says, "Oh, it's clearly this," and then the ref on the field calls it the other way.
Yep.
And the analyst is like, "Well, I don't know what he saw there, but
I would have done it this way."
Right. So that just muddies the water even more.
It's insanity.
Adrian Peterson going to take a pay cut to play next year.
Doesn't shock me, man. I mean, listen, they just won the North. He wants to play. He wants to end his career in Minnesota.
Yeah. Really, how much he wants to beat Emmitt Smith's record
How far away is he?
Like 6,000 and change.
He's not going to break it.
He ain't going to make it. Dude's going to be 31, or he is 31.
Yeah, he's not going to make it.
So
I don't even want him to pass Barry because he's not in the category for me. I don't think Emmitt Smith is either. Emmitt Smith's a great running back, don't get me wrong, but he's not. He's not Barry Song.
Nobody is. Happiest dude on the planet right now is Jim Tomsula. He's getting the full $14 million that he is owed from the 49ers. They're just giving him the $14 million.
Hey, I don't think I wouldn't say he's happy, but he's not disappointed with that, probably.
Who knows, man? Maybe working for Jed York sucks.
Maybe.
And he'd rather have the $14 million than the gig and go be a coordinator somewhere else.
$14 million doesn't suck balls, but I'm guessing he was already rich, so.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, when your net worth is $20 million, you get 14.
What's another 14 more, dude?
I don't know. What do? You buy another house, another yacht?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Being rich has got to be kind of boring at that point.
I'm willing to give it a
You're
shot.
gonna give it a shot.
I'm willing to take my chances on it. All right, so looking at the Kansas City
let's
Chiefs
do the games, yeah.
And the Texans, it's weird. We're basically doing this now for playoff leagues and for DraftKings and FanDuel leagues, right?
Yep.
So, during the season, we'll say, Alex Smith is steady. Screw Alex Smith. In this scenario, I'm not taking him.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, between these two teams, there's no quarterback for you to play.
There's not.
Because there's certainly better. They're more expensive, to be sure. But there's better options for you this week. Sharkhandrick West from the running back side is a guy I might look at for maybe a flex or an RB2.
We just got an email from Elliot in the chat room who sent us an artist rendering of Billy Manziel.
Did he put it?
It's a Photoshop. It's in the email. It's the very top email.
Must see.
Holy hell. It's just hilarious, man. Somebody just shopped it. You guys got to see this. You guys got to see this photo. Maybe we'll put it on the website somewhere, but it is just fantastic.
With the horn rim glasses.
I just love the hair. What is he thinking, dude? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your game, but that is just some funny shit. Thanks, Elliot.
Brilliant
stuff. That is hilarious.
So anyway,
at its best.
Shark West in a flex is perhaps a good go. Yeah, the Texans are only give up 14 points per game to opposing running backs, but in this offense, in this scenario, I think the Sharkhandrick is a decent go. Jeremy Maclin is questionable with a hip. Is this good information on the injuries?
Yeah, supposedly.
Maclin, definitely go with him. Last 4 games, 21 catches, averaging only 55, but does have 3 TDs in that span. So he is at least flex-worthy in a DFS or in a playoff
league.
He
did practice today.
That's good news.
Yeah. So.
Travis Kelce, I'm guessing, for me, I would put a different tight end in. And from the Texans, you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins.
You got one player.
You got Hopkins.
You can play Hopkins.
And that's about it.
It is. It's a small pool here. Steelers Bengals. This one actually isn't a small pool. Big Ben playing the 3rd-ranked Bengals defense. I would totally play him.
Yes, definitely.
I think he's probably going to be a decent role this week. There may be a better option somewhere down the line for a daily fantasy or something like that. Last time he played Cincinnati, he threw 3 picks, only 262 yards. But that was November 1st. Different team. Oh, sorry. That was the previous time. On December 13th, he threw for 282, no TDs and a pick. So 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions against that defense so far this year. But this is playoff time, baby. So I don't have a problem sticking Big Ben in there, although it is a bad matchup. D. Will, last I read, not looking good for him. That's a shame.
Yeah, not on the injury report, apparently.
Apparently not, but you never know, Kevin. Teams lie on that damn thing all the time. I don't even know why we bother pulling from it. So it's just kind of meaningless. But last I read, he was in the Dalton kind of situation where it wasn't looking good.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see what the official word is, but I'm going to say he's probably not going to play. If he plays, you obviously play him. Antonio Brown's an obvious one. He's going to be one of the big names this week.
Actually, looking at this one, Williams is officially questionable.
He is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, he wasn't on the official NFL injury report, because that's where I pulled my data from.
I believe you.
They might have said something in a press conference, but he's not on the list. Brown, but dude, the real question is Bryant Wheaton. Bryant's questionable with a neck, but he's going to play. And Wheaton, who's played really, really well lately. Honestly, I think either one of those guys, if you're looking for, Wheaton obviously is the big bargain, but Bryant's also a decent bargain too. Roll the dice in DFS or something is probably a good go too.
Brown,
Brown is a definite. He's 100. He's 100%. He's probably the only person I would play from the Steelers in the NFL.com format,
right?
Because he's just so damn good,
right? Even though, because
I think they get past this game. I don't know how much further they go, but you get a 2x multiplier against him next week too. And I mean, he could drop $150 this week and $150 next week, and a couple touchdowns in each, and that's a lot of points,
right? Even if he doesn't go past next week.
Right, so that might warrant playing him. From the Bengals side, Dalton, officially questionable, not looking good. Wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. The running backs have a terrible matchup this week, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Hill has been scoring mad touchdowns. He's getting double the carries. I probably would try to avoid playing him in most formats if I could.
Well, that's the thing. It's not like anybody's got him on their team and has to play him.
Well, the other thing is you only got 8 teams to pick from this week, too. So,
Yeah, but you can take Shark West. You can take, Kristen Michael.
But you can also roll the dice on Jeremy Hill. I mean, there's a possibility he punches one in and has 60 yards and catches another pass for 20 or something like that. And has a decent
insert joke here where I mentioned punching one out.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I would try to avoid those guys if at all possible. The wide receivers, of course, you're going to play A.J. Green.
Are you?
Of course, yeah.
You play him in a DFS league. I don't think you play him.
Probably not in NFL.com's format.
Right.
And for those of you who are unfamiliar, check out the rules and you'll understand why. But basically, you get a multiplier each week for the team advancing too. So like if Cincinnati won, you picked AJ Green this week. Next week you would get AJ Green times 2.
Right. Whatever he scores next week, he gets doubled.
But if they lose, you start back at 0 again, and you have to pick somebody and get a 1x multiplier.
So a lot of guys, they'll pick, they'll do their Super Bowl.
They'll load up with like Denver and Seattle.
Right. Say, okay, I'm going to take the 2 number 1 seeds and pick players from there, and I'm going to not get any points at all in the first week.
Right.
But everybody's doubled the second week, tripled the third week, and all that. So.
But I wouldn't hate if you think that Cincinnati's going to advance. I don't hate playing AJ Green, and I certainly don't hate playing Eifert, who I think is probably the best tight end play of this weekend.
Of a guy who's actually playing.
Jordan Reed's pretty good too, but Eifert's just damn amazing.
Concur. It's the Seattle Seahawks going to the damn chilly single-digit degree temperature Vikings. The hell was that?
It was my beer bottle hitting the
good God,
the mic. Drink.
Yeah, I think you have to pound it for that.
They do. I don't know.
First outdoor playoff game in Minnesota since 1975.
Why have they not been doing this?
Well, they had a dome.
I know. Here's the thing. That's their whole dude. Minnesota's weather is terrible. That's home field advantage, baby.
I understand.
What have they been doing all this year? You know what? When they had an outdoor stadium, they were awesome.
They went to a couple Super Bowls.
They did. I think they won many playoff games.
Yes.
I think something like 6. I think 6 to 8 in that era. The Purple People Eaters and stuff.
Back in the day.
Yeah, man. They were awesome. They domed it up. Yeah, nothing since.
Well, they did go to the championship game when Randall Cunningham was
and they lost.
They lost to the Falcons.
Yeah. And then the Falcons lost.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
They did. So anyway, looking at the Seahawks, regardless or irregardless of what the Colts going to do, I still believe in this team. Russell Wilson,
me too.
He's a guy if you're playing this week in DFS, I wouldn't play nobody else other than Russell Wilson as my quarterback, guaranteed. Except maybe Big Ben, I would consider him. But
I'd probably play Wilson too.
Right. I mean, that offense has been a passing juggernaut. 13 TDs in its last 4.
Marshawn Lynch coming back, maybe. That might change things.
He's back at practice.
He is. He's officially questionable.
It may change
I think he
things.
probably plays.
Yeah, but I think that, this team has, once they change their offense a bit to increase the passing a little bit more, the team has just taken off big time.
Yeah.
So why would they change that now just because one guy is back?
Why did they not run the football at the 1 yard line with one of the best running backs in the NFL last year?
I don't know, but if you look at those situations this year where they gave the ball to him, he never got the yard. Very rarely got the yard.
That's a good point.
So, here's the thing. They're going to keep throwing the ball, I feel. Russell Wilson is a definite go. I would probably stay away from Marshawn this week. Even if he's back, I would probably still play Kristen Michael just because you don't know, just because Marshawn's back at
I'm
practice.
not playing either of them, really.
Right. I mean, you got a better option out there.
I would
sure.
hope so, yeah.
Definitely playing Baldwin. Dude's got 6 TDs in his last 4.
Dude might play Curse, might play Lockett too.
Probably not Curse. He has a couple TDs, but Lockett, he's got 16 grabs, 3 TDs in the last 4. Baldwin's to be sure.
Yes.
If you're looking at DFS or the NFL.com league, there are other options out there besides a guy like Curse or Lockett, but Baldwin's a definite. Cooper Helfett, no, I'm not going to do it. There's better things out there. From the Minnesota side, it's really the Adrian Peterson show for me.
It's pretty much it. I mean, you can make a case for Stephon Diggs in certain situations, but that defense is very, very good, and AP probably isn't a great play either because of the defense.
And he's very expensive in a daily fantasy.
Right.
So, tread with caution. But the dude has, 3 touchdowns in his last 4, and he's AP, dude. This is where he thrives, and they're home, and it's cold, and, all kinds of things, point to him.
A million reasons to go that
Right.
direction.
How many times has he been in the playoffs in his career?
None. Right? One?
Very few.
I can't remember.
I think they've made it, but, I don't think they've had a home game.
It hasn't been a lot, yeah.
I mean, when was the last time they won the division? It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Right. So,
I don't know. 08? 07?
I just have my glasses on the damn microphone.
That you do have to chug if Kevin hits.
Yeah.
Finish your beer, bitches.
So, there you have it.
All right, Packers, Redskins. One of the most confusing games of the week. Actually, the line is pretty much even in Vegas. So even Vegas is confused. Come on, Packers, Redskins?
When it's not even, it's Green Bay by 1, which basically means it's a push.
It's a push. Aaron Rodgers, his last 4, has got 5 TDs, 3 picks. Has not played all that well this season with the team being so banged up, but I like him in this matchup, Kevin. You mentioned Russell Wilson. I think that there is a very solid chance that Rodgers throws like 4 TDs in this game. It's a really good matchup for him.
Or 4 picks.
And he's very experienced in the playoffs, where the Redskins, I think, are going to be a little bit lost. Now, this may be just me,
Hoping,
totally
wishing.
speculating. No, man. I mean, the Eagles are out of it now. I really don't care what happens with the Redskins.
Who's your girlfriend now?
So I want it to be Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they get past this week.
No.
I don't mind Pittsburgh at all.
It's not going to be them either.
I know. And I can't remember why right now. I really can't. But I the other night, I was in the shower, actually. Shower thoughts. Yeah. r/shower thoughts.
Don't hear about that.
I had a really strong case in my head for why I wanted the Patriots to win the playoffs or win the Super Bowl this year. And now I can't remember why.
I'd really be
But I had
interested
I had a super strong reason in my head why I wanted them to win. And normally I hate the Patriots, right?
You were rooting for them last year in the Super Bowl.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Maybe I just didn't want Seattle to win. I don't know. Either way. Honestly, it really doesn't matter to me. I just love NFL playoffs. If I'm being totally honest right now, I would love to see Andy Reid get a ring. So,
really?
Why not, man? Yeah. It's probably unlikely. I really don't think anybody from the NFC wins it. If it's anyone, it's probably Seattle. So
no love for Carolina.
I think they'll make the NFC Championship game without trouble whatsoever. They're just so inexperienced that I think a team like Seattle would whoop them in an NFC Championship game. I really do think they would.
That's what I'm.
But I'm waffling. I am waffling. Anyway, there's another Manziel image out there, Twitter feed of Adrian Neenan, apparently. So I'll have to go check that out. So Rodgers is a decent play this week. Eddie Lacy Guy's got 2 TDs combined in his last 4 games. So does James Starks.
That would be receiving and running.
Yeah, but Lacey's getting double the carries and about half of the receptions, but it's only 8-4, so it's not a significant difference. If you're going to play one, I would say it's Lacey, although we know he might sit the pine. Fat Eddie. The receivers, dude, I really can't recommend them. I really can't,
They're getting targets like crazy.
A lot of targets. Okay, Randall Cobb, 22 in his last 4 games. He's averaged 43 yards and no touchdowns.
Is it because they I mean, you look at the completions that Rodgers has, and they're all like digs, and they're all crosses.
They're dinking dunking.
There's really not a whole lot of like deep outs or
they're just a very beat up team, dude.
Yeah.
And the receiving corps is still pretty strong, I would say, but he does not have near the time that he used to have. And I honestly don't think that Rodgers is 100%. I think he's probably like 85. Something's going on with that dude, man. He just doesn't look as limber as maybe he's getting older. He used to be able to move out of the pocket and make something happen, and now when he does that, he throws an interception. Well, you're just like, whoa, what?
So he's a little bit slower doing it.
He's a little bit slower, yeah. Richard Rodgers is probably not a bad option at tight end, but with Eifert and Jordan Reed out there, I would avoid him unless you think the Packers are going to go the distance. From the Redskins side, Kirk Cousins, a lot of people saying, hey, man, this is a good guy to hang your hat on in DFS this week. Very cheap, 12 TDs in his last 4 games, just 1 pick, averaging almost 300 yards in those, but he's facing the 9th-ranked Packers defense, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Cousins has a very good game. I'd be surprised if he threw more than 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah, I would. So I think that's a very questionable start if you want to start him in DFS, even though he's quite cheap.
I think he's going to do a little bit better than that.
That's fine. But I really don't.
I have nothing to hang my hat on for that.
And I think the Packers just absolutely walk away with this game. Like, it's not even close. Just based on experience, not just talent level, but just.
I would have to imagine that, the Packers have been here before, whereas the Redskins are probably shocked they made the playoffs.
I mean, they won the worst division in football. Yay.
I don't know. The AFC South is
true.
AFC
South is pretty
well.
bad, too. Anyway, the running backs, Alf, no thank you. Pierre Thomas has been doing a little bit in the PPR. Nah, I'm not touching either of those guys. Really, the only other person we can talk about besides Jordan Reed is Deshaun Jackson. Garcon has played well as of late.
3 TDs in 4 games.
But Kevin, he scored in 3 straight. But, dude, it's Pierre Garcon, right? He tends to disappear. Whereas Deshaun Jackson is a consistent money-making scorer in this league. Doesn't catch as many passes, but he does go deep and get more yards and has caught quite a few long touchdowns this year. So I like him more than I do Garcon. But a case can be made for Garcon in DFS. None of these guys can a case be made for, even Jordan Reed, who is clearly the best player on the team for an NFL.com playoff this week. So that's it, bitches.
There you go. No Liz is called yet.
All right. Well, if we don't get her,
concerns me a little bit.
If we don't get her, her picks, we'll get them offline, and we'll contact, or we'll put it up, and we'll talk about it next week. It's kind of a bummer, but we can get them offline. It's not a big deal. You and I can go head to head for week 1, and she can chime in and via Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, she can always tell us what she wants to do. I just tweeted her that.
Do you want to do questions first, or do you want to jump into the game?
Let's do questions. Give her a chance to call.
Okay.
We really only have 1.
Well, we have 2.
Are they both email?
No, there's one in the forum too, right?
No, dude.
Oh, that was Saturday Q&A. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one in the email is converting Redraft to a dynasty. Hey, this is from Darren. Hey, fellas, big fan of the TFFG, and your advice took me to the playoffs in all my leagues, though I finished 3rd across the board. Bummer, dude.
Yeah, wow.
Some of the guys in my main money league, 12-team standard, started kicking around the idea of switching over to our league, to a dynasty next year, and I wanted to get your take on what you think is the right size for rosters, positions, scoring, basically anything. The only thing we talked about is doing a starter draft and then switching to a rookies-only deal. So I don't like the rookies-only deal because that means that it makes it very difficult to build a startable team every year.
Right, because basically, the whole idea of doing a dynasty is to try to match what happens in, for an NFL team. So there are free agents in an NFL team. So, the dynasty league that we're in, basically you can keep up to 10 players.
But you don't have to keep any.
Right. Which means, the draft just goes that long and, depending on how many people have kept many players.
You would get an additional 10 picks, but they come at the back end, not the front.
Right. So, we keep up to 10 and, in that case, guys that are dropped, you can pick up, veteran players. You can pick up guys that you actually play.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, like right now, our league is locked. You can't pick up waiver wire guys. So you can only keep 10 of the guys that were on your roster at the end of the year.
At the end of the season.
So now we have 14 teams in our league, the waiver wire is always thin.
It's super thin.
So I think we have 17.
I think it's a 17-player roster.
17 players, and
it's a limit of 5 running backs, 6 wide receivers, 3 quarterbacks, or 4 quarterbacks.
And then you also have a couple
tight end
IR spots.
There's 2 IR spots.
Right. So, basically, if I were in your shoes, I would figure out. I mean, the rosters can if you have a 12-team league, you may want to make it like an 18 roster, active roster with an IR spot.
You might.
Because, there's allegedly going to be, 24 more players available out there because you have 2 less than we do.
But if you want to keep the waiver wire active, maybe you keep it at 17,
So if you keep 17 with an IR or 2 spots, then just make sure everybody knows the rules going in that, you can swap players for draft picks. It's a little harder on the commish, but, if you run it through a system like Flea Flicker or Yahoo or NFL or any of these.
Yeah, I traded T.Y. Hilton this past season for a first-round pick. And got it.
And then Liz with that
T.Y. Hilton. I don't think T.Y. carried her. But she did quite well this year in the league.
She did.
She finished second.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But Kevin has traded for first-round picks. I have. The thing that I've noticed is that in a dynasty league, running backs, at least in ours, running backs have become
gold.
Yeah. I mean, there's just none available. And if you happen to land one that's even startable, like you're already ahead of the game. There were a couple times this year where I had to start like Ronnie Hillman. I had to.
That's not so bad.
It's not so bad. But there were years past when I would start like people that were like a backup. I think the year before last, I started Donald Brown a couple times.
Yeah, so here are my running backs right now in that league. I have Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon.
Which you picked second and third, first and second in this year's draft.
And I have James Starks and Niall Davis. That's it.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to have a middle first round pick next year. If there's a running back out there for me, I'm going there.
I have the number 2 pick, I believe.
Now, my receivers, I have Fitz, Dante Moncrief, Jarvis Landry.
You can't mess with me.
Rashard Matthews, Malcolm Floyd, who's retiring, and Keyshawn Martin from the New England Patriots.
I have a sick.
Oh, and Philip Dorsett from
wide receivers. My running backs are Williams and Hillman and T.J. Yeldon, Denard Robinson, who I picked up to fill in for Yeldon, and that's pretty much it. Wide receivers, though, I'm super stacked, dude.
Yeah, you are.
I have Cooks. I have Amari Cooper. I have John Brown. I have Tyler Lockett. I have Devontae Parker. I have Marcus Wilson from Chicago. I have Rashard Perryman. I also have Carlos Hyde at running back, too, but he got hurt. Yeah. So, but anyway, that gives you a little bit of insight into. Kevin finished in the middle. I finished next to last. That gives you some insight.
Again.
And the difference between our teams, it's not so much, dude.
Right. My started out with quarterback Andrew Luck, who I picked up. I drafted him first round pick a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Didn't work out that well this year. But he was good last year.
Yeah, it was pretty good last year. But I ended up starting Alex Smith for the last couple games because I had Sanchez. He went out. I had Hasselbeck. He sucked. So I ended up with 4 quarterbacks on my roster at the end. And oddly enough, I actually have Gary Barnage. Somehow got that dude.
Wow, that is awesome.
So, yeah. I mean,
I've blamed Gabbert. Anyway, so I think you just have to talk through with the commission stuff. How the biggest thing is how many players are you guys keeping? After that, it kind of gets easy. But that's kind of the big thing. Like, how many players, like, how big of a dynasty is it?
And honestly, it's sometimes in this league, I think we've been in it 5 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult to get to 10 to keep.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I can get this guy, Justin Hardy from the Falcons. Do I think he has a pretty good future?
Sure.
Maybe next year when Roddy White, is out.
Right.
Maybe he slides in. I don't know. Maybe not. But do I want to keep him, or do I want to get a better draft pick?
Right, just draft somebody, right.
Right. So, do I think he's better than an 11th round pick or a 10th round pick? Yeah, he probably is. But I'll have to see for, preseason next year, et cetera. So, and that's it. If you say, well, we'll keep 12, that's going to be a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
8 may be too few, 12 may be too many.
We started out with 9, we bumped it up to 10. 10 seems like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
You always drop your kicker in your defense. So there's 2 gone. You have to cut 5 other players, basically.
Which usually is not a problem.
It's not that hard, yeah.
With you with all the wide receivers you have.
Well, I'm looking to trade some of them because I can't start them all. So,
really?
Yeah.
Shame you don't have any running backs we could talk about.
I know. Well, I got Amari Cooper. You're regretting not having him.
Dude, I got all kinds of receivers.
Brandon Cooks, man.
I'm good.
Yeah, with John Brown.
Well, we can talk about a second round pick.
Not for any of those dudes. Maybe for Devontae Parker or something.
I have Rashard Matthews. I'm good. I have Jarvis Landry.
You don't want 3 Dolphins? You don't want 3 Dolphin receivers?
Honestly, I'm not sure I want 2 Dolphins receivers. All right, so Liz has yet to call.
All right, we'll get her picks offline and let you guys know what they are. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
With her. So
let me see.
Hit me up, Kevin.
All right, so the first game is KC Houston. They're obviously playing in Houston because Houston was the division winner.
They were.
For that wonderful AFC South. Different lines all over the place. We just went to, Vegas line. Actually, it's ESPN NFL lines, and took the average from most of these. There were some that were 3.5, some that were 3, et cetera. So we kind of found a sweet spot there. So Kansas City favored by 3.5. That means they're giving up 3.5 points to Houston on the road in Houston. Who do you got?
What's the over-under?
Over-under is 40.
40. I want KC to the under.
All right, KC, Houston.
Yeah, I really think Kansas City's going to win. Their defense has just been playing so well lately, and Houston pretty much just has a receiver.
And, a steady quarterback in the NFL playoffs. Not a bad thing.
Not a bad. Joe Flacco won.
Game manager type guys.
Joe Flacco won.
So you're taking KC.
And the under.
And the under.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to take KC and the under.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's,
all right.
It's the one that makes sense.
Right, you get to go first next time.
All right, so the next game is Pitt, Cincy, in Cincinnati, as they were the division winner. The over-under is 45.5. This is a tough one for me. Pitt is favored by 2.5 on the road. I'm going to take, if it was 3.5, I'd probably take Cincy. But I'm going to take Pitt and the over.
Yeah, me too.
Whoops. Oh, you are? Damn, I just scratched it out. Pitt and the over.
I had, just to be fair, I had it in my head before you said anything.
Okay.
So now we're even. Liz is going to come in and do the opposite of everything we do.
If she's smart, she will.
And just blow through us.
Yeah.
She'd be ahead by 8 points at the end of week 1.
All right, so the next game is Seattle, Minnesota.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Seattle, Minnesota. Seattle is favored by 5. 5. And the over-under on this game is 39.5.
Man. 2 good defenses. I can't see it going over, so I'm going under. The thing about this is, Kevin, I totally think Seattle's going to win this game.
Yeah.
But I know wacky things happen in the playoffs.
They do.
5 points. I'm taking Minnesota in the under, but I think Seattle still wins. It's just by a field goal. I think it's a low-scoring game.
Wow, Minnesota in the under. I'm going to take Seattle. And the under. Sorry,
okay.
dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be 9.
I know.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. We're so wrong, by the way. Do not follow this logic.
Yeah, do not put
Listen
any
to
money
us
on this.
Sometimes when we talk about fantasy, but when we're doing this thing, we're so bad at it. So whatever we're saying right now, please completely disregard. We do this for entertainment purposes only. Do not follow our advice when it comes to betting lines. This is why Kevin and I don't bet on football.
We don't.
We're really bad at it.
We can go right down the street to a Buffalo Wild Wings,
Yeah.
and in there they have Delaware.
Delaware
you
sports
can bet
betting is legal.
right. You can bet football games.
Yeah.
We don't.
We don't. Ever.
Even if it's only a $3.
And I'm not opposed to gambling. I'll dump money into a slot machine.
I've seen it. I've seen you win in a slot machine.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. That's dumb luck. And I love playing poker, but I'm just so bad at sports gambling that I just don't do it because I'm so terrible at it.
Yeah, and I brag about winning last year's little pool we have here. There's no. It's just dumb luck.
Yeah. Well, you were ahead going into the Super Bowl week though too. So
Yeah.
and then you won more of the prop bets than we did. So.
Right. So Green Bay, Washington. It's basically a push 'em, but Green Bay is getting a point.
Yeah.
A lot of good that's going to do. They're not. It's not going to be a 24-23 game.
Over under.
Over under on this bad boy is 45. So maybe it will be a 24-23 game.
Maybe it will be.
That's what the Vegas guys are saying, and they're pretty smart about this kind
They
of thing.
are.
I'm going to take Green Bay. I'm going to take Green Bay in the over.
Oh, damn it, me too. So we differed by one in the whole thing.
Yeah, the Minnesota-Seattle game.
So-
We both took the under.
So come on, Minnesota.
So out of 8 points, we agree on 7 of the points.
And in my infinite wisdom, I went against the team who from the NFC has represented the NFC in the Super Bowl the last 2 years, and won one of them and was really close to winning the other one.
And is arguably the hottest team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, and I picked a team who's going to play at home outside for the first time again since 1977 or something.
You bet on Teddy Bridgewater is what you did.
That's right.
Whatever. It's 1 point. That's all I have to make up in week 2. So I just know something wacky's going to happen.
Or maybe they win by 3.
That's what I'm saying. I think Seattle wins. I think it's just probably a pretty close game.
You're taking the points. You're not taking
I am.
the team.
Yeah, it was the 5 that sold me. If it was even, I would take Seattle in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, sorry we missed Liz.
Yeah, it sucks.
But anyway, we'll catch you
We'll
next
catch up with
week.
next week. Yeah. Slater, bitches.
All right, have a good wild card weekend.
Yeah, go check out pictures of Billy Manziel.
Yeah. Oh, Billy.
So disturbing. Oh, Billy.
No, that's awful.
What movie's that from?
Cable Guy.
Yes, it is.
Where
Press-
Matthew Broderick's in prison,
Press nip.
puts a nip up against the glass. Oh, Billy. And the dude in the next booth is like, I'll see you in the shower later, pal. Awful.
Later, bitches.
All right, see ya.
Peace out.